Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome back to From the Depths, another quick guide. And today we're talking about embedded propellers, or embedded props for short. That's not actually that much shorter, but anyway. So, some time ago, I was reminded of the existence of these things and I thought, actually yeah, that's a good idea, we should do just a little quick guide on that, because it's quite a handy way to make your boat go just that little bit faster, and it doesn't cost you, well, doesn't really cost you anything to do it, except to have some space in the floor and a little bit space of lengthways. So, what do I mean by embedded props? Well, you'll notice that this cunningly camouflaged canoe with some missiles on it that's shooting a marauder doesn't appear to have any propellers on it. Like, you look at the back, okay, there's a rudder. Look at the sides. No azipods or anything like that. Oh, look. The propellers are actually technically inside the hull, and they're all, at first glance, they are blocked off by, well, blocks. So what's going on here? This is taking advantage of something that isn't so much an exploit as just how the game works, really, and that is propellers only need 8 meters of free space. This goes for all propulsion, actually. They only need 8 meters of free empty space behind them in order to give maximum thrust. So you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then there's a block. If I put here, well, if you look here, it's 100% thrust. You go here, it's no longer got 100% thrust, it's only at 87.5%. If you put something here, it doesn't work at all. So long as you have that 8 meters spare, and the propeller has access to the water, so if you do something like this, for example, I believe it will stop working. I'm going off script already. Huh. Interesting. This still works. It needs to be below the water, clearly. Well, that's already hilarious, so you don't even need to do what I've done here. However, so, with this in mind, you can essentially sneakily put propellers along the entire underside of your craft with no extra drag, and, yeah, that's a really handy thing, because this thing is going over 30 meters per second, just with small propellers, and no propellers obviously sticking out anywhere. We've run out of marauders, we should fix that. There's one, cool. So, I keep mentioning drag, yes, so usually what I have done in the past for propellers like this is I've just strung along the underside propellers, something like this, which is not a bad thing to do, it works just fine, but this is contributing to drag. So if we look at this 1 meter slope, for instance, drag is reduced to 0.4 on the front, so that is still a lot less drag compared to, say, well, blocks that don't even mention the drag, really. I don't think, like, I think the drag of just regular square blocks is 1, like, per cubic meter, so still a fair amount of drag. So what you actually want to do, if you're going to do this, by the way, is use these wedge fronts, because their drag is reduced to a lot less. So over here, drag reduced to 0.4, drag reduced to 0.1, drag reduced to 0.1, this is just at the front, but you go over here, drag is reduced to 0.02, so these are actually the best thing to stick in front of your underside props. Or you could just stick them inside the hull and dodge the whole question of drag to begin with. So that's very handy, because if you look at just the cross-section of this craft, none of these propellers are sticking out from the hull, they're not contributing to drag at all, and so the craft can go fast, and that's really nice. With just small propellers, might I add. Very handy. This is a very handy thing to do with small propellers, which are otherwise not tremendously useful. Large props tend to be used far more often, simply because they're only 1 block tall, which means that you don't need to do shenanigans with hiding them deep inside the hull. You can embed large props in the hull a little bit. You can easily do that, and in fact, The only part of... Oh, darn it. Didn't mean to do that. The only part of the hull which you need to do this with is... Let's go here. Does that work? Ah, screw it. We will live for now. So we're here. And only the middle part of this needs to have the correct clearance. So here we have clearance, and over half of it, so it's only got this one block sticking out here, which we can cover, as mentioned before. Let's just do that. We can do something like this, and no drag. We're in fact gone quite a bit faster now, or at least we were. We stopped for some reason, for some wacky reason. But yeah, you can do this with large props as well. It works pretty darn well. You just got to remember that this last third of the large prop's height, it still contributes to drag, so you don't want that. So you want to account for that. But generally, I really just like using small props for this. Like, I've never done this before, but I sure as cookies am going to start doing it from now on because it works so well. Have I mentioned that this thing doesn't require any kind of stabilization? It hasn't got any air pumps in there. It has no roll props. We've run out of marauders again. Where was I? Ah, yeah, so there's no roll props needed. There's no altitude props. It's just a whole bunch of alloy, which helps a lot. And just all the propulsion is... slung underneath it in a way that it doesn't pitch up. It does roll a little bit, but not too much. That's very nice. Also, it has camouflage, so it's invisible. That is not the rule. I didn't make that up. Them's just the rules. I just follow them. So, yeah, another handy thing with sticking props inside the hull like this is that it doesn't block anything else. So, if you're like me, or like what I used to do, and you like sticking props underneath your craft like this, you've got a problem now, because now there's random bits of your under hull, which is sticking at least 1 meter out from the hull itself. So if you want to do something like this, for instance, and stick sonar on the underside of your craft, which is often a good idea, at the very least passive sonar, so you can detect torpedoes and do something about them. Oh dear. Backwards, this thing is now blocked. So you either have to go put another sonar on the other end of the thing, so you've got all your bases covered, or you have to stick it out even further. So that is a problem. I know that a lot of people actually hate sticking any kind of thing on the underside of their craft, because it just ruins the whole believable ship aesthetic. I'm not one of them, but like I do hate drag, and I do hate having my sonar blocked. So if you just do what we've done here, you can still have a whole bunch of propulsion on the underside of your craft, and you only need like one block sticking out for your passive sonar, which is very, very nice indeed. And speaking of sticking things along the whole entire length of your craft, you might have noticed that, well, just looking at this thing actually, that I am very fond of long, thin craft, which is a problem because if you stick your propellers just on the back of your craft, you don't actually have a lot of room for them. This thing narrows to a point in exactly the same way the front does, which means that you can't stick a whole bunch of propellers just on the back. If you do something like this, one marauder dead. If you do something like this, you can spread out your entire propulsion, like along the entire length of your ship, still have it go at a decent lick, and it's just, I don't know, it's just so very nice, I say. Let's look at what these missiles do. They are frag missiles. That are still relevant, kind of. Haha, you missed, you stupid marauder. Man, I love canoes. But in any case, yeah, so this is quite a handy thing to do, and I should mention that this pretty much requires that the underside of your hull be more than 1 meter thick, and there's just for defense against torpedoes or against timed fuse shells, or even against kinetic shells, it is a pretty good idea to have the bottom of your craft be multiple meters thick. In this particular case, it actually could do with being another layer thicker, because these embedded props, well, means that they need a lot of clearance, they need a lot of gaps, and so now my AI is just one stone beam away from oblivion, so that's less than ideal. So it helps to plan ahead if you're going to use this. Just if you happen to have a ship with a 3-meter thick underside, embedded props, baby, they work a treat. So yeah, that's basically it for this. This is just a quick thing I felt like sharing, and also because, like, you know what, like, I feel that people have their own default craft, and by gum, I felt like making a canoe, so here it is. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or through membership if you like. It really helps. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Get hyped for the full release. Woo-hoo! That was a weird noise. Farewell!